Hey folks, everything new under the sun. Alright, this is going to be a quick little follow-up review on the TG-850, the Tough 850 Olympus. And this thing has been through thick and thin. I'm going to show you the state of it now. And you'll recall I did buy this secondhand originally. And it's fallen apart. And so here's the hinge. And the hinge was halfway broken when I got it, to be honest. But I've had to glue that actual corner of it there that you can see. Not sure if it's focusing on it right there. I've had to use super glue on there, and all the plastic casing has come off it, and it almost completely broke off. And to add insult to injury, my SD card the slot is now not recognizing all the time when the card is in. So I'll turn it on. And it may or may not. Yeah, you can see it there. Memory full. I have a 32 gigabyte SD card in, and it's saying memory full because it's trying to use the onboard memory. These are about, I don't know, it's like 10 megs of onboard memory. It's tiny. Anyways, the card goes in there. The card is in. See, the card is in there. Where's the? There it is. You can see it in there. Right in the. It's got a micro SD. But if I wiggle it to the side, you'll see that it flips on to actually seeing. Let's see. There it is. So I'm holding it. I'm pressing it against the contacts, basically. And you can see it sees it. Now, if I pull my finger away from it, back to memory full. So the contacts in there are effectively wrecked. And so I don't know what I'm going to do about that. So I've got this camera. The hinge is all busted. I've had to glue it up. The side is all busted off. And now I got that. When I originally got it, I got it like that. It was broken to begin with. But the SD slot worked fine, 100% fine when I got it. And it is now showing its wear. I've used it near daily, to be honest, on this YouTube channel for, I don't recall when I got it, for probably the last 6 months anyways. So yeah, I did get new batteries for it. That works great. But this camera is showing its age and falling apart just from pure use. So the SD card slot, I mean, that isn't... that doesn't see any weather particularly because it has this weatherproof door on it. So that is pure use, taking the SD card in and out to get the video onto the computer. Let's see if I can brighten that up. Anyways, that's in and out. I'm using the cable, the USB cable, for charging. And I could use that to transfer data, but it's too late now because the contacts on the SD card are getting flaky. So you can see the trouble with trying to run a YouTube channel and not having a ton of money to get cameras, or to keep replacing cameras, basically. So I'm going to have to look for another used one if I can. I don't even know where I'm going to get the money for that. But this one is, yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do. Because that SD card slot, I mean, that's not something I can fix. I can't just say, well, I'll use the cord from now on, because it's not recognizing the SD card all the time. So just wanted to give you that little heads up. I think I did a review video. I'll put the review video before or after this, just in case you want to see what I thought of it when I originally got it. But yeah, it's definitely showing its age. And like I say, let me see how old it is here. All right, yes, looking at the review I did of it, and I uploaded this September 15th, 2016. Yeah, about 6 months. I've had it plus or minus, well, more than that. Let's see, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, and it is May now. So we'll say 7 months I've had it, pretty much using it full time for the YouTube channel. So I'll put this review I did of it after, so you can see what I thought of it. But after 6 months of fairly heavy use, putting the SD card, in and out of the device, probably multiple times a day, and it is absolutely showing wear. So would I recommend it? Maybe if you got a brand new one, it would last a number of years. I don't know how many years this was used prior to me getting it. But certainly, the interfaces that they use for these things to get the video off, and I think end up being fragile if you use them a lot, especially SD. Now, I could probably try another SD card, and that might work a little better. I did try another one. I tried 2 of them, and one worked a little better than the other. maybe I need to clean my contacts, but I don't know how to get, you know, a Q-tip wouldn't even fit in there to clean the contacts with some rubbing alcohol. Maybe you can get an SD card that you know, a cleaner SD card that you slide in and out, and that just cleans the contacts. I'll have to Google that, see if you can find something like that. But as it stands right now, this thing is near end of life for me. I'm gonna have to start looking for a replacement. It was a good camera, definitely, and brand new. You know, with being not broken, it would have been great. Well, the other issue was I had there's a bit of moisture in my lens, and so that causes the color and the picture to be a little bit soft in certain areas. So it's definitely not waterproof anymore. Like I say, do I recommend it? Well, like I say, if you're buying it new, it would probably last a number of years. If you're using it heavy duty for YouTube, you're probably gonna have to replace it every couple of years. And me, after 6 months of use, I've worn out the SD slot. So you know, your mileage may vary, as they say. So stay tuned. You can watch the review. I'll tack it on to the end here, just for interest's sake. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video. This is my look at my, well, it's already unboxed, my look at the Olympus TG-850 Tough camera. So I'm just going to show you some video that I took of it and basically talk about what we're looking at. Now, there's no memory card in here, but it does come with some onboard memory. I think it is probably, you know, 6 gigs or 1 gig or something. It's pretty small amount anyways. Could even be megabytes, I'm not sure. Anyways, it's got a flip-up screen, which is one of the real nice features of it. This thing is shock-proof from 7 feet. It is waterproof down to 33 feet. Although the one that I got off eBay, and the side is cracked, so it's not waterproof anymore. You can see some of the cracked plastic there as I turn up the lid. It's got 5-time optical zoom, and it's got a really ultra-wide lens on it, which is really nice. It works as an action cam as well. You can see on the back that it has the dials, which we'll take a closer look at, and obviously the screen rotates 180 degrees, and the image does flip as you move it up and down. It does have a flash on it. The flash doesn't seem to go off very often, but it does. And it's got a whole pile of modes, which again we'll look into kind of in the next video. So this camera for me replaces, now you can see the Tough there with the 33 feet if I get it in focus there. This replaces a Garmin Virb Action Cam, and it's nice because the Garmin Virb Action Cam has a screen on top, but it's only black and white, and this you can do a bit of a selfie with the screen flipping there. You can see the cracked part there. I got it for about $80 Canadian off eBay because of that crack. It doesn't seem to harm the functionality apart from the waterproofness of the unit, but that's okay. There's bags and such that you can get which would work for underwater stuff if I wanted to do that. You can see the dial on the side, which kind of has your standard, you know, macro mode, auto mode, etc. And you got your a D-pad there with the OK in the middle, and you've also got a menu button on the bottom there, and in the middle is a play button. The side here is a locking hatch for the battery and the SD card. It takes a full-size SD card, and I've got the camera in my hand now as I'm kind of doing the dub over the video here. And the battery in it, it is a 1320 milliamp hour battery, 4.25 volts. The reviews on the battery is that it doesn't last long, but it seemed to last a day of shooting with my kids, so that it's probably fine actually for what it does. The front of it actually says 925 milliamp hours, 3.7 volts. So I'm not sure what that is. Oh, maximum charge current I was looking at. So yeah, 925 milliamp hours, which isn't a lot, but it is what it is. It comes with a proprietary USB plug, which was on the top, full-size SD card, and then HDMI, mini HDMI, I think it is, or micro HDMI, whatever. And this is a locking compartment here, and it seals for water, so it doesn't get water. Thankfully, that side of the camera was not broken, so that's nice. It's got a nice big protected lens on it, and overall it's a pretty sturdy, pretty thick, pretty solid little device. You can see the scratches on the screen there. It was well loved by the previous person who had it. It has a wide angle, tight angle toggle on the top as well, so you can zoom in and zoom out, which I didn't really get a good shot of, but you can see it on the left hand side there. Here we're taking a look at the menu. Now this has got a lot of options in the menu. There's the flash, and here's some menus that it's showing there. with shadow adjust and compression for your fine or your standard mode images. It's got autofocus mode, which you can turn on and off. So in eye auto mode on the wheel, you have a limited amount of options, but in the other mode you have much more advanced options. So there's pick orientation, record view, super wide. Here's the movie settings, 1080p, and I was able to get the 1080 at 60 frames a second when in any other mode than eye auto mode. And it's got a wind noise setting, which is really nice, which you can see at the bottom there. Sorry, it's going a little bit blurry there, but you can still kind of read it when it flashes off. So the wind noise setting, I haven't had a chance to try it out yet, but hopefully that will work real well when I get outside. It actually does have left and right stereo microphones on the top, so that's nice. You can change what happens when you plug it into USB, whether it goes into connect to a printer, or whether it's for auto loading of the data to your which are kind of nice. So there's really a lot of options on here that I was just quiet there for a second so you could hear the different tones that it has. This is a pixel check mode, so it actually checks the sensor, I guess, the image sensor, to check if there's any bad pixels in it, which is a great feature. So it went through its little check there. It says busy on screen, and didn't give me any errors, so that's nice. This has a ton of features. It has a panorama view. There you got your options for NTSC PAL, for the TV out options. You got your languages. So yeah, it has your panorama view, your art view, your scene view, which are all auto modes. You can select on the wheel that you spin there. And I'll show some of that later. So you can set the local time and a world time, which is kind of neat for traveling. If you can take this on vacation, not worry about going underwater with it. It does have time lapse, so you can set the interval. It doesn't go to 2-second shots. The lowest it goes for seconds is 10 seconds. That's a bit of a downer, but as we get into the movie mode, there was actually options for 120 frames per second and actually 240 frames per second as well, which is a really nice kind of super slow-mo options there. It does have a super macro mode, which is nice, and I'll try and get some super macro shots. The 5x optical zoom is really nice, and then there is a digital zoom, which I think is 10 times as well after that, but obviously optical zoom is kind of a key feature there. I'll probably be doing lots of macro photos in the future once I try that. A lot of the options, I'm going through the spin wheel here. Here's the P and the E portrait here for just faces. It has quite powerful modes in each. Here's a panorama mode, and what you do when you click the image sensor and the image button on that, whatever button on the top, it kind of guides you through it. It shows you the arrow and it records your movement, and it takes a picture each every whatever it is, 2 seconds or whatever, as you pan around, and then it stitches it all together for you. So it's a really nice panoramic mode. That's really nice. You can zoom in and out. You can also edit the photos in the play mode on this one, which is nice. You can add sepia and different tones and pictures. Here's the art mode, where you can actually do diorama options, which is tilt shift, and it does dramatic tones, and there's a diorama right there, which makes things look like miniatures. Pinhole modes and grainy film modes, so lots of artistic sorts of things that you can do with it, all on board. It's really amazing, and they have images of how the photo is actually going to look when you go through them. So I thought that was really neat. So I'll probably be trying the diorama, which is the tilt shift mode, a bit more, as I go. And of course, it has its scene selection mode, where you can it'll auto change its settings for, say sports. There's the sports mode right there, so a bit higher action stuff, and night mode, slower lens reflex and that sort of thing. And then you get back to your eye auto, which is kind of the absolute auto mode. It kind of does everything of your settings. And there, I just powered it off. It just goes to the Olympus thing. So that's it. That's the look around, the walk around of the Olympus Tough TG-850 with the selfie screen, which is really handy to have. And I really like that it has a super wide angle lens on it. This is way more useful than my Garmin Virb, actually, in a lot of ways, because it's a regular point and shoot, plus it goes underwater 33 feet. You don't need a dive case like you do for the Garmin Virb, for example, and it focuses. So it's a really neat unit, and I'll probably be using it lots as we go forward. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you found that useful, and we will see you guys in the next video.
They do movies as well as stills?
Yep, I'm testing the 1080p video.
Okay.
See if it works. 8 inches or something.
Okay, I gotcha.
Which is, oh, cool. It does focus really close. That's awesome. It's focusing within like an inch.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.